see.
What sort of investment you got there? That's a couple $1,000 there, isn't it?
What, this phone?
Yeah.
No, no, no. It's a couple hundred.
Really?
Actually, it's a free phone with a contract. So everything is cheap too, I guess. So, hey guys, hang in there while I tweak things around a little bit. Okay. So we're good. This is my favorite thing that, the audio recorder. I am definitely more of an audio person than a video.
Okay.
I like the way things sound.
Well, that's good. That is. Let's call that.
Cool. I won't try to keep you too long. Let's see. Okay, guys. Well, we're here. We made it. Here's Kent Meyer. We've been talking about getting a new city manager for a while now, and now he has a name.
Second day on board.
Isn't that incredible? So, how did you get here? You know, you came from Port Angeles, Washington.
Uh-huh.
And something must have drastically changed in your life. You're just feeling, I heard an interview of yours towards the end of last month. It was probably a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
And so you have some family here?
I have family. I'm originally from Fort Worth, so grew up in Texas. Spent all basically first 25 years of my life in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Went to college at Arlington and graduate school at Fort Worth at TCU. And then went to work in this area for city manager of Converse, in the San Antonio area, and spent about 7 years there, and then kind of traveled different locations. Spent about 5 years in Arizona as a city manager, 14 years in Hot Springs, Arkansas, and then me and my wife decided to venture to the Northwest and spent about 3.5 years up there. But in answer to your question, just an urge to get closer to home and family and get back to Texas. I was raised as a Texan and just enjoy getting back.
So why did you become a city manager? It's like the Lone Ranger, right?
Well, I think it's, you know, from my standpoint, it's an opportunity to make a difference in the communities that I serve in, you know, and so hopefully in terms of Fredericksburg, you know, I can come in and help work with the city council and city staff to make some positive changes.
Okay. What does the city manager do? Because I'm a relative newbie to this.
It's under a council manager form of government, which we have here in Fredericksburg. The council is elected by the citizens, the 5 council members, 4 council members, and their obligation is to set the policy for the city. Policy includes the budget, it includes ordinances and zoning decisions. It includes hiring the city manager. When the city manager is hired, then the responsibility for the day-to-day management of the city resides with the city manager, and that individual oversees the various departments, makes sure the city stays within their budget, make sure that, you know, we handle legal and personnel issues appropriately, but just kind of like the day-to-day manager of the city that's hired, you know, by the city council.
Okay, so you'd be like the water department's boss.
Yeah, more or less, you know, police department. But you know, from my standpoint, we have capable people in all those departments too, and they actually.
I hope so. Yeah. So, but what drove you to focus on the city manager, right?
I think it's a very exciting, challenging field. Particularly in the case of a city like Fredericksburg, it's obviously got some, is going to grow in the future, and you've got some growth-related challenges.
So what are the areas of growth that people have been talking about for Fredericksburg? Like,
well, I haven't talked to a whole lot of people yet, but I think there's an expansion of certainly the university's presence with the University Center here, tourism, possibly bringing in some additional tourism attractions. And I think in talking to the council during the interview process, Maybe the opportunity to diversify the economy a little bit, maybe look at some high-tech growth in the future, but look at some, and of course medical care is very important. There's probably some growth-related opportunities related to health and medical field.
Just go down all the other directions. Yeah, that's one thing that did stand out from all my research on you. You talked about diversifying, a lot. At least the stuff that I've seen.
Well, and that helps because, when the economy suffers, you usually have one sector, that experiences some decreases. And if you're diversified, you have other parts of the economy that can get you through those down periods. And, like the case of Hot Springs, Arkansas, they had not only tourism, which was, they're the #1 tourism location in the state of Arkansas, but they also had several large hospitals. They had some major industries and a lot of other diversification. So I would hope that, again, this is up to the council. We have an election coming up Saturday, and the new council will set some policy for the new city manager following the election. So
well, it's going to be interesting to see who our city council is and who our mayor is. I have no idea. It's just like up in the air.
Sure.
That's going to be interesting. So, okay, so I've had a lot of new jobs and such in the future. So you take all your stuff and you move it to this part of the country, and you come in and you say, hey Gary, I'm here, where's my cube? And then you say, what have you been doing? And then you just take over everything, right? You have, I guess we see what's here right now.
Well, just, again, trying to, as far as first couple days of the job, try to review as much information as possible, get my hands around the financial status of the city, trying to spend a lot of time with city employees, getting to know them and their functions and some of their issues and concerns. And then next week following the election, spend some time with the new council members and getting to understand more about some of their priorities for the coming year.
Okay. So you were at last night's zoning and planning meeting. What did you think of that? Any thoughts on that?
Well, I think it was pretty typical. I think the staff did a good job in presenting the one zoning case that was up for the property out by the post office. And then most of the meeting was devoted to talking about sidewalks.
Right.
And so again, following the election, staff will get with the council and see is sidewalks a major priority of the council. And so, these are, some ideas.
So that's the path it will end up going. It'll come from the Zoning and Planning Commission. We'll work together to come up with some kind of a concept to fulfill the old council's request.
Right.
The new council will get it. They'll bless it. If they bless it, it's in your lap, right?
Well, basically, before we spend any more staff time on this, we'll want to get with the new council to see if this, again, is a priority of the new council.
Okay.
There's a lot of issues out there, and we can't do everything, as high priority items. So we've got to, come up with a list of maybe 15, 20 items, sidewalk signs, golf course, let's put everything on the table and let's see, what are the highest priorities of the new city council. If sidewalk isn't a high priority, then we would tend to prolong our work on that and maybe not get to it right away and get to the higher priority items. So these will all be discussed, I would think, within the next several weeks after the election, and we get the council together.
How much primer have you gotten on, our hot button issues here?
Well, some during the interview process, but I can tell you, it's not like any other. Other communities are facing similar issues. Here, I think in Fredericksburg, the advantage that you have is the economy is doing better than most other cities. You look around the country, and the fact that the city finances are in pretty decent shape, and we haven't had to do any major layoffs for the city and that kind of thing. So I think that overall the city's in pretty good shape.
Yeah, I'm really into that diversifying too, though. So I see that single source of just the tourists all by themselves. All of a sudden.
Well, tourism will always be a major part of the economy here, and I think there's, like I told you, there's a lot of opportunities to grow that sector of the economy. At the same time, you're diversifying.
Right. Yeah. For sure. Yeah. I don't want to make this show about me. It's all about you.
Right.
So, did you get a place in town or out of town?
In town. Very close proximity to City Hall, so I can walk to work. So that's good.
Great.
And that's something that's real important to me is you know, the walkability of the city, and I think again, Fredericksburg has a very pedestrian friendly environment where, you know, I know people car stop when you cross intersections, and hopefully looking to the future, we can make it more attractive to pedestrians and bicyclists, because you see that, you know, it's a quality of life issue, you know, in a lot of communities, is people getting out of their cars and getting out and, you know, and just get some exercise and fresh air, and also the tourists, the visitors like the ability to get out and walk around, so.
Yeah, definitely, the tourists like to walk around. I know a lot of the locals, most of them don't walk around, and, you know, hardly any of them ride their bicycle.
Oh, really?
Well, I'm one of the rare ones that
Uh-huh.
rides their bicycle all over the place.
Oh, good.
So I'm an avid bicyclist, but I'm also an anti-bicycle lane person.
Oh, okay.
I like sharing the road.
Okay.
I think we should be nice to each other, but right, it seems, yeah, we're always talking about bicycle lanes here. It's kind of like crazy.
Uh-huh.
But I don't know.
Yeah.
I'd just like to see more people on bikes.
Would that be nice? Yeah.
So that's great. Well, I don't really have too much. I just
Okay.
really wanted to come by and say hi.
Appreciate
And
you
this
coming
stuff,
by,
you know,
and
comes
sure
up.
we'll-
Maybe I can come in and
Sure.
talk to you about
Sure.
some things. You know, we
Yeah.
always got crazy stuff going on, and
Uh-huh.
I'm learning so much.
Good.
Every time that I record a different part of this political system, whew, you're
Uh-huh.
just like, okay, so that's where that goes.
Okay.
Because I remember this thing with the sidewalks came up because a lady was wanting to rezone her property so she could actually sell tchotchkes to the tourists as well as have her house. And she's like, well, I don't want to build the sidewalk. And then they go, yeah, you know, we should revisit that rule. And I'm going, yeah, that's good, right? Let's be good on the property owner. And they went ahead and they did that, and then they kicked it down, and all of a sudden it turns into a, well, let's repave all this stuff. I'm like going, wow, how did that get there? But then I realized that that's not what they were saying last night. They weren't saying,
No.
it was kind of a strange.
Well, I think what I heard them say is, if we don't have that requirement for people like that develop individual lots,
Right.
what can we do to fill in the gaps? Here are the gaps, and I think Brian did a good job in presenting the downtown area where the gaps and sidewalks were.
For
And
sure.
if we don't require the owners of those properties to fill those gaps, then how can the city do that? Because at some point, you know, in the next couple of years, hopefully we can have most of this central city area with complete sidewalks instead of these gaps everywhere.
Yeah, it'd be nice, right? But I'd hate to do it twice, you know.
No,
It
yeah.
seems like
No,
from
nobody
what
wants to do
Brian
that.
was saying, he was kind of
Yeah.
like, got me afraid for a little bit. You know, I'm like going, what do you mean? There's one sidewalk that's 8 feet and one that's 3, and there's like,
Yeah. So this is something that won't be completed, I don't think, in the near
No,
future.
I don't
And it's
expect
it's
that.
you know, it's
You
something
know,
that.
he qualified
yeah.
that very well, you know.
And it's a lot of cities are facing the same issue.
That was
you know.
just something that Tommy and Scott had asked them and said, well, blah, 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 and they threw it out there.
Uh-huh. Okay.
At least that's the way I saw it.
Okay.
But what my whole point was, you know, as I sit there and I branch out into live streaming all these different things and recording everything, I'm starting to see how this thing actually works, and then, you know, all that just brings up more questions.
Right.
And it'd be nice to have somebody to come and ask questions too.
Sure. Okay, well,
Okay.
appreciate the opportunity to visit
Okay.
with you, and
Yes, I'll let you
I'm sure
get
we'll be
back to
talking
it.
some more in the coming months.
Okay, guys, that was Kent Meyers, and he's all ours. He came from Port Angeles.
Yes.
Take care.
All right.